credit and savings and budgeting, all kind of really challenging things, especially if we find ourselves on a tight budget. So one of the things that we had asked everyone about was regularly setting aside savings, right? So during the past 4 months, how often have you been able to set aside savings? And we found that only 5% were always able to set something aside. So you're taking that, if it's $5 a month or $40 a month or $100 a month, or however you do your paychecks or get paid, or any other income, only 5% were always able to save. 63% said sometimes able to save, and 32% said never or seldom. So that's something to really think about as maybe you go through this workshop series and you gain some of this information. You start setting goals for yourself and you say, we would love to see that outcome change, right? That we go from 5 to maybe 55% of people say that they always will save something. And another sort of general data piece, I think, that sticks with me as we continue to do this work around asset building and financial literacy. There is a lot of research that goes into looking at savings habits and connecting savings with, if any of you have school-age children or entering school age, or maybe they're in high school. I know there's a range of school age children represented by families here, but there is data that goes to show, even if you put aside minimal savings, so less than $500 of savings, and you have school age children that you want to go to college, they are 4 times, and I've seen different statistics, 4 to 7 times, but 4 seems to be the general understanding, 4 times more likely to go to college, even if you've only put aside less than $500. So you're probably thinking in your head, $500 is not even going to buy a pencil in college these days, right? But it gets you in this habit of saving and budgeting and putting aside money. So I just wanted to share that really sort of important data piece around savings. So from here, I'll turn it over to Jody to maybe mention her data pieces that she found interesting around what we had asked folks to participate.
Yes, thank you, Amy. So hi, everyone. My name is Jadida Jetter, and you guys have been communicating with me from the beginning. I'm sorry I missed the first session because of a family emergency, but I am just excited to be here today and to get to see all of you guys and to get to learn a little bit more. I believe this is the 3rd to 4th time we have done this financial workshop, and I want to say that I learned something from Pam and Laura every time we do it. It is amazing information, and they're amazing at delivering the information. So I'm glad that I could enjoy that with you guys. But one of the things that we collected in the data that you guys gave us was about credit cards. And as you know, credit cards become one of the biggest barriers, right? For us to go get, a home, buy a home, or get another loan for a car, or just anything that we want to purchase. Credit cards always become really hard to manage. So 84% of you guys said you have a credit card. 84% of you say you have a bank account, also with checking and savings. 47% of you have a car loan, and 24% of you have a mortgage, and 31% of you also have another debt other than a mortgage. But for the credit card, I want to say 31% of you, the data said that you paid more than the minimum on a credit card in the past 4 months. 42% only paid the minimum amount, and 15% skipped the payment, and 31% borrow to the credit limit of the card. These are, very important points. And I know that Pam will share a little bit about that, but I feel like I am all in this bucket myself, right? Because as myself trying to get into a budget, and, I'm a shopaholic. I love to shop and do things, and a credit card always come in handy. At the end, I want to buy a home next year with my husband, and now I have to step back and start thinking about all of my credit cards and how to manage them. So I think that knowing this information and knowing where you are in your own life, right, will give you some ideas on, and Pam will share some ideas on how to get started to be able to take control over your credit cards. So thank you so much.
And that, I would love if you could, one of you could send me that, those statistics, and then I'll try to put together some things for our next class too. Even, I know we're going to talk about taxes, woohoo, or Laura is going to talk about taxes. That is not my thing. But maybe we can do a little bit with all this information too, to go along with that. So that's great. That's great info to have. So it's great to see you all again tonight. And so some of the things, this was the first time I was hearing all of these statistics, and a couple things stood out to me. And the first one was that there was a percentage, I think it probably was like 20% maybe of the people here tonight don't have a bank account. So we did not choose for one of our sessions, because we only had 3 to cover, banking in general and why it's important to have a bank account in different ways that you can save either at the bank or other types of savings. So if anyone has any questions on that, feel free to ask me, or I can share my contact information too. But it is really important to help with saving money too, having a bank account. And there are lots of different types of accounts, and accounts that don't cost you anything to have. There's even accounts that do not, charge overdraft fees, lots of different things. There's Bank On is a something you may have heard, but it's a nationwide movement for banks to all offer a certified Bank On account. And that is to help people who are nervous about banking, and it limits fees and overdrafts. And so it's a really good account that is available. So just as a side note, if anyone has questions on that, feel free to reach out and we can talk some more about it. So I am going to share my screen, but again, feel free at any time during the presentation to ask any questions, and I'd love to talk about them as we go through the program. Let's see. So you all got a packet of an email with some budget worksheets and today. So if you don't remember, check your emails, and you should see this right here, this participant guide for spending plans. And I'm just kind of scrolling through this. Everyone can see my screen, right? Okay, so in here, there's some good information for you to read, and we're going to talk about a lot of this stuff, but I wanted to get down here to these spending plans. And these are just some good worksheets. You can use this, or you could make up your own. You can find different programs online. I think we talked about different apps that you could use last week. But this is just a really good tool for you to use. And the first thing that is the most important when you're doing any kind of planning, right, is you have to know the situation. And we talked about that last week when we said credit, we can't do anything with your credit until you know what your credit looks like. Get your free credit report so we can check that out and see if you have things on there that we got to work on. And the same thing is true with your budgeting. we can't do anything with budgeting. We can't help you start saving. We can't give you tips or ideas until you know exactly what you have and where you currently are. And then from there, we can determine where you want to be. So Jody said she knows she wants to be out here owning a home. So she has to look at where she currently is, where she's spending her money, how much it's going to be to get out to this place out here. And then we can put the two together and come up with a plan. And so that's what you all have to do first. So that's why these worksheets are important. But if you don't like the look of them, you can make your own spreadsheet. You can write it on a piece of notebook paper on the back of an envelope, whatever you want to use. You could do something on your cell phone, but you want to take a good look at all the money that you have coming in, all of your income, and that includes any benefits you might receive. If you get any interest, which right now interest rates for savings are still pretty low. So, but if you have child support, if you get alimony, if you get gifts, anything that money is coming in, if you have a little, your number one job, but then you do a part-time job of shoveling snow in the winter, something like whatever it is that you're getting some extra money in, you want to put down all the money that's coming in so you get a good picture. And then on the flip side, we want to see where all your money's going, because how are we going to make any adjustments or changes or figure out how we can pay off our credit card sooner if we don't know where all our money has to go on a monthly basis. So if you notice on this sheet, they have the first thing, any money you're saving. And then I like how they put sharing with family and friends. A lot of times we have a family member that we have to feel like we have to help support. So maybe we're giving our children $10 a week for lunch, school lunch, or we're giving money to one of our parents to help them out, or a sibling or family member. So money that we're giving to other people who might rely on us for support. And then all of our other spending. So whatever our rent is, any taxes. I know some of you had said that you have car loans, so you must have auto insurance. So that would have to get listed. If you have renter's insurance, your water, your electric, trash collection, whatever, your cell phone. I don't know if anyone has landlines still, but if you have a landline, your internet, if you have that. And remember in here, if you have signed up for Netflix or Hulu, any of those services, those can end up adding up to a lot at the end of a year. So you want to keep track of those in here. Payments, fuel, we all know gas is expensive right now. If we take public transportation, how much is that? So really thinking about every single penny that you spend just to get a good idea of where your money's going. Maybe you go to Dunkin' Donuts every day. Maybe you go twice a day and you think, well, it's not really a big deal. Well, let's just put it down on here so you can see what it adds up to. And if you still love your Dunkin', then it's fine, but you might say, Dunkin's not worth, $40 a week. So maybe I'm going to, divorce him and make my own coffee. So whatever your spending habits are, eating out, figuring out how much it costs you to eat out. And if you think about it, you just really need, it's not to be judging and make you feel bad, like, oh my gosh, I spend a lot of money on these things. It's just to give you a really good picture of where all of your dollars are going. If any of you have pets, we don't think about it, but really our pets do end up costing us a lot of money. So we just need to know how much it is so we can make our plan for the future. And then all the other things, like if you get a haircut, if you get your nails done, all of those things that add up, you want to start listing all of those and come up with your total expenses. So you have all these forms, and then we'll come back and talk about more of the plan as we go through. But I just wanted to show you these. You should all have them in your email and start to look at them, print them out, or make your own copies or form. But start to look at all of these things. And you want to look at your income and expenses for a good month, because a lot of times things only happen monthly. Like you may only get, maybe you get a payment monthly that comes into your bank account. Or maybe you have an insurance payment, your health insurance payment. Well, that would probably be part of your paycheck, but an expense for your car insurance, maybe you're paying that only monthly, once a month. So you want to keep track of it there, or maybe you pay it once a year. So you want to look and like at the whole picture for at least a month, or sometimes up to 6 months, so you can see where all of your expenses are. So I'm going to stop sharing that one. And slideshow. Here we go. Can all of you see this one now? Okay.
Yes, yeah.
Great, thank you. I did the reason I keep asking is last week I was doing a program similar to this and went through and I was talking, flipping the slides, and no one saw a single thing that I was talking about. And there was a picture of an iceberg. I'm like, talking about icebergs, they all thought I was insane. And then I realized they weren't seeing what I was seeing. So, anyways, this is PowerPoint, goes hand in hand with the worksheet that you guys had and talks about what we just said. Really, we want to compare our income and expenses, understand where our money is going, and then we can make some adjustments to reach our goals. So those adjustments could be things like maybe we have to get a second job, or maybe we have to, spend less on going out to dinner or whatever it may be. But we need to understand where everything's going before we can do that. And so here it's telling us to go do the spending plan and filling out all of the sections. So once you finish all that, we're going to want to see, is our income minus our expenses, what is our difference? Is it 0? Then that would be, some of you I know in the survey said you had no money left over to save. You were just breaking even. So that's probably what your income minus your expenses would be. If you had, those of you who are still able to save, probably had a positive there. You were making more than you were spending, so you had money to put into your savings. And then there's some of us who have the negative, where spending more money than we currently are making. And so it's forcing us to use our credit cards, right? And then not having enough money to pay them at each month. So we're getting more and more in the negative. And that is a really common thing. A very high percentage of people in our country have negative savings, which means we're using our credit cards to supplement our income, and it's causing us to be negative. And for a little while, it's okay, but in the long run, it starts to get, the negativity keeps building, and then it makes it really difficult for us to do things like reach our goals of buying a house or education, all those different types of things. So once we figure all of our situations out, we're going to want to make a savings plan. And to do that, we're going to have to do some things daily. So the first thing was we're going to record all of the things that we came up with and make some ideas. So we're going to look at our income that we had coming in. and really take a deep dive at that and then say, hey, what can we do with this? It is what it is. I can't make any more money. I'm working so much. I'm taking care of the kids and working. My income is, stuck. We've taken a look at our income, and this is something we're going to work on next week when it comes to taxes. We're going to make sure we have the correct amount of taxes coming out. If we have too much taxes coming out, we can adjust that with our employer and then have more spent disposable income, more income we can spend every paycheck. So we're going to take a really good look at our money that's coming in and see if there's any way that we can make it more. Maybe we have something coming out of our paycheck that we don't want to have. Maybe we are paying to have an eye plan and we don't need an eye plan because we have insurance for eye care through our spouse or someone else. So we want to really take a good look and make sure that there's nothing, that we have all the correct deductions coming out and that we're maximizing our income. And there's no other, maybe there's an opportunity to pick up an extra shift or something, whatever that may be. But we're going to take a good look at that first. And then we're going to look at the spending side. So all of those things that you had on your expenses, we're going to go through those line by line. And we're going to say, is there anything on here that we can make cheaper? So one of the things that we always talk about in this class is look at our insurance. Have we been having the same auto policy for 4 years? Maybe we need to call our insurance agent or shop around. We could maybe get a lower price, but it just renews every year. And a lot of times we just say, click, yep, I'm going to pay the bill, and just not really take a good look at it. So we want to look at our insurance and see, is this the best plan for me? Call your agent, shop around, get other quotes. Another one of our expenses that we want to look at is our cable bill. If any of you still have cable, you want to take a look, because a lot of times that you start out with a plan of maybe $70 a month. And then after a year, it goes up to $170 a month. And then the next year it's up to 200 and something, and it keeps going up and up. So we have to look at these things and question them. Same with your cell phone bills. Any of your bills that come in, you want to take a good look at them and just make sure that there's nothing else on there. I know I have AT&T, and one time I was taking a look and I'm like, why is this bill so high for my cell phone? And I noticed it had on there that I had service on there like AAA. Well, I paid for AAA myself. I didn't need their service that if my car broke down, and it was taking an extra $5 a month out of my making me pay an extra $5 a month on my cell phone bill for this service that I didn't even need, that somehow I must have just got connected with when I purchased my last phone. Look at the insurance plan. You might have an insurance plan on your cell phone. See how much that is. If your cell phone is 2 years old or 3 years old, really that cell phone plan might not be worth it for you, and it might be costing you a lot of money every month. So going through that whole list of expenses we had and going through and seeing, are there any that we need to question, that we maybe can reduce, maybe we can even eliminate, and find a way to try to cut back on some of those expenses. It takes a lot of time and patience, but in the end, it's really going to be worth it for you if you can save a couple $100 a month. And a lot of times people, it will add up to that. So looking at all of those things and seeing, maybe our electric bill is really high. This was happening at my mom's house. Her electric bill was huge. I couldn't figure out, I'm like, what? Because I was paying her bills for her. I couldn't figure out why it was so high. And then I realized they were using a bunch of the little space heaters. and not realizing that they were causing her electricity bill to go up really high. When if she had just turned her heat up a little higher, it would have offset where it was a lot less to pay for a little extra oil than to have all these space heaters. So, you know, looking at your bills, if something looks really high, questioning it, checking it out. Does anyone have any questions on that so far? Okay. So, here's just another slide that goes over some of the things we said. There's some other little ideas of how to increase your income. A lot of times it's really easy to sell things now. So if you have, you know, maybe you bought some clothes for your children and they never got to wear them, they outgrew them too fast. Or you bought a pair of shoes and didn't end up liking them. You can always try to sell things online. And or even have a yard sale. A lot of times we think, oh, this is just junk, no one's gonna want it. But you know, the old saying, your junk is someone else's treasures. So those are ways just to get a little bit of extra income in. Again, a part-time job or a second job. There are a lot of jobs you can do from home now with a lot of things remote. So it may be easier for you to do a little second job and you could still be home. If you have children at home, or you know, you just don't want to always be going out, you may be able to find a part-time or a second way to earn some income from home. Be very careful. I just want to warn you, you know, that it's a legitimate job and there's no scamming or things involved. Sometimes if something sounds too good to be true, it can be when it comes to jobs. If anyone asks you to use your own money or your own bank account, that's a red flag. So you don't want to do that. So make sure, you know, if you do decide to do something that you found online, that it is a legitimate company and is not going to cost you anything upfront or be some type of scam. And then another way that we can try to help increase our income is maybe a long term. And I know Amy and Jody do a lot of work with for career development in East Hartford. So you guys are really lucky to have them. So if maybe there's a way that you think you can increase your current job that you have now to get to a newer level where you'll make some more money, or maybe you've always wanted to go into another field, maybe looking into that. And in the short run, it might cost you, you know, some extra time and hurt your income for a little while, but looking at what the result will be in the end could be well worth it for you. So these are some of the things we just talked about when it comes to decreasing expenses. What can you conserve on or get cheaper, use less of? So looking at, you know, your oil. Another, I went over, I'm ragging on my family now, but my brother had said, oh, my oil bill's so high. This was last winter. And I stopped by his house and he's walking around in shorts, a t-shirt. It's freezing outside. The house is like 85. I'm like, well, that's why your oil bill is so high. You know, so are there ways that you can cut back on some of the expenses that you have that you just might not even be thinking about? Adjusting and renegotiating, that's where I told you to, you know, call your insurance company, call your cable company, your phone, your cell phone bill, whoever company you're with, try to negotiate and see if you can get your prices, your costs, monthly costs down. And then of course, the one we don't like are the things that we could do without or that we have, we're not even using. So with this one, I want everyone to take a look too at your credit card bills and make sure every single month, I want you to look at them closely when they come in, that you don't have any charges on there that are reoccurring that you didn't want to have. A lot of times we might sign up for something that says, oh, you can get this 1 month for, I was just looking at a vitamin ad. It said you could try a 1 month supply of these vitamins. And of course they were like going to be this great vitamin. So I was like thinking, I might want to try them. and it was 1 month free, but you had to give your credit card. And then I was reading the fine print and it said after the first month, you would get another shipment charged to your card. So how many times do we forget and sign up for things like that? We're going to cancel after the first month and we don't. So a lot of times, if you're like some of the music stations, like Pandora or something, you can get the no ads. The first month is free, or Amazon, the different music things. And then you have to remember to cancel them, or you could be having a monthly charge. And sometimes those charges are high, like, $20 a month, $30 a month. If you have any children that do anything with like Xbox and stuff, sometimes those you might let them try something for 1 month, but it's like a reoccurring $20 fee. So making sure that you're not getting charged, because all of those things can add up. Any questions so far? So in your packet that you have, you're going to have this guide too for spending and savings plan. And this was a little case study in here, and Shelley and Walter wanted to increase their income. But if you look at this form yourself and come up with ways that you think you could possibly increase your income and list all of them, and then, look at all the different ways you can decrease your expenses. So going through all those things we just talked about, listing down, I'm going to call my cable company this week. Next week, I'm going to look at my insurance. I'm going to go through a lot of times the electric company that you use will do an energy audit for free, and they'll come replace all your light bulbs for you. They'll put in new insulation. I had it done, and to really cut back on the amount of money that you have to spend for your electricity. So things like that you're going to look at. So write all those down. Okay. So does everyone good now with what you're going to look at, putting all your income, your expenses together? This next section here talks about what are we going to do if we end up falling short. And I know from the survey, it said a couple of people said there was a month or two they couldn't pay their bill, or sometimes they could only pay the minimum. So sometimes we have to make a decision what to do or how to prioritize if we get in a situation where we are a little bit short. So even when we are doing the most careful planning and we're feeling like we're ahead, something can pop up. And that's really what happens to a lot of us. We're going along fine, and then all of a sudden we get that big medical bill, or our car just totally dies and the mechanic says, sorry, I can't fix this. You're going to have to get, a new car, or so something major happens, and then it's a big hardship for us, which is why having that savings will come in handy in times like this. But when it does happen, we're going to have to try to figure out what we can do in this short situation. Increasing our income isn't that easy, right? That's a harder, longer term thing to do, but maybe we could try to do a couple extra side jobs or something in the short term to get that money in to help. Or finding out some expenses we could decrease, even if it's something important to us that we want to increase, put back on the list. So maybe we really love going out to dinner once a week, like our family thing. But we have to cut it out for 1 month to catch up on our expenses, or cutting back on certain items that we like to, going to the movies or buying different things. The really important thing you want to do, if you think it could be a long-term thing, you lost your job or something, is contact your creditors. So if you have a loan with the bank, and especially during the time that we just recently had with COVID. If you had a certain type of loan, whether it's an auto loan or a mortgage, and all of a sudden you couldn't make your payments because you lost your job or something happened, you really want to contact your bank right away or whoever you got the loan from, because there might be plans or programs in place to help hold you over. I saw this a lot with student loan debt. Now, student loans still not is in, no, you don't have to pay them back yet, but you're going to have to start paying them shortly. But in the meantime, before that all happened, somebody would have trouble with their student loan, a government student loan. If you contact them, there are plans in place. You could get a forbearance, you could get some time where you don't have to make that payment, where your payment can get reduced until you get back on your feet. So contacting your creditors, there's programs for homeowners if you're to avoid having to go your home to go into foreclosure. So there's lots of different programs out there and available, but you have to make sure you call and ask and then see what is there for you. So that's the next one, reach out for help. A lot of people don't, they try to just, make do, but reaching out and asking for assistance, the most they can say is no, but there are a lot of things out there. A lot of agencies have extra dollars that can help for a short-term crisis. So always checking to see what you can do. And then the next thing is to prioritize or what to pay first. So what usually we tell people is you want to pay your home, right? Your rent or your mortgage, because you want to be able to stay in your home. And then all of the other things down in a list of what you need, your family needs the most to survive, going on down to the things that you could pay, maybe make a minimum or partial payment, or maybe have to miss for 1 month, but prioritizing in order of what is essential. So paying attention to consequences that could really hurt you. So you don't want to do anything that could prevent you from earning your income. So if you need your car for your income, you want to make sure that you're paying your car loan, trying to find a way so that you can keep driving to work. Your shelter is very important. Your health and your abilities to live independently. So these are just some things you really want to think about putting as a number one priority. So there's also a little exercise in there to prioritize your bills as to what is the most important. And I know one of the things we had talked about is what if we wanted to, one of our priorities was to reduce our credit card debt or our debts in general. So I want to take a minute to talk about that. So I can't really see all of you, but if anyone has any debts that they want to try to start to reduce or start to pay down, there's a couple of ways that you can look at it. So when you listed out all of your expenses, we could pull aside all of, say, your credit card debts, right? And list all of those out. And what we want to do, there's a couple things you want to look at. You want to look at your credit card balance, and then you want to look at what the interest rate is. So this is something you can get off your credit card statement, and what the minimum payment is for each of your credit card debts. So once we list all of those out, there's two ways that you can think about it. Some people like to pay off the small ones first, so you can feel like you're checking a box. So whatever has the smallest balance. So if you have one debt that is $500 and one that is $10,000, you pay the $500 off first, so you can say I have one done. But another way to look at it is to go through all of your credit card bills and see which has the highest interest rate. So you want to every month pay at least the minimum on all of them so you don't hurt your credit. But then take whatever extra money you have to pay towards your bills and start paying extra on the one with the highest interest rate. And work on getting rid of that one first. Once that one's paid off, any extra you have goes onto the second highest interest rate and going down that way. That way you really do end up saving the most money by doing it that way, because the higher the interest rate, the more money you're paying to that company every single month. So we want to get that one off the plate as soon as possible. So what we really want to do too in your guide is to come up with a plan on what you're going to do and how you're going to do this. So you have actually in the guide, the books, a page that has a plan for you. Oh, it doesn't have a picture of it here. It's okay. And what we're going to do on there is we're going to write down, what do I want to do? So what I really want all of you guys to think about is something, what is of all, like when we think about all the things I talked about tonight and last week, it's a lot, right? It's like a lot of stuff. Oh my gosh, do I want to fix my credit first? Do I want to pay off my credit cards? Do I want to try to make more money? You know, what can I do? There's so much to think about. So really taking a step back and thinking, what do I want to do first? What is something I feel like is manageable and I really want to tackle that first? So maybe it is paying off some of those credit cards. And so that's what you're going to want to write down your action plan. I want to try to pay off my credit cards. And the second thing, how will I do it? Well, I'm going to put an extra $100 a month on the highest balance because I want to be able to, I'm going to have to just cut out having cable TV. I'm going to cut my cable bill. That's $100 a month. And I'm going to use that to put on my credit card bill. And for 1 year, I'm going to just try to stream some things on my internet or find a way to live without my cable. And that's going to be your plan. The third thing on here says, will I share my plan? So that's something that most plans, once you start sharing it with someone, they become a reality. And a lot of times plans actually get completed. People finish what they started once they tell someone, because your good friend or your family member or someone that you trust and want to talk to is going to be on your side, and they're going to be encouraging you. And once you tell someone you're going to do something, you really have to, because you don't want them later, a month later, say, how's that, savings plan going? And you're like, oh, I quit. You don't want to say that, right? You want to say, it's going great. I'm doing good. I'm making progress. So sharing the plan with somebody who can help encourage you and hold you accountable is a really good thing. And that's why people join things like Weight Watchers, where you might have to go in and get weighed every month. If you're not accountable to somebody and you want that extra piece of pizza, yeah, not a big deal. You're going to eat it. But if you know you have to go weigh in the next day, you're going to think, do I really want them saying, oh, you're up a pound? So the same way with your plans that you're going to do for your finances, share them with somebody. And, you might not want to pick anybody, but someone you trust. And by sharing that plan, it really helps it become more of a reality. Do you guys have any questions or anything? We have about 10 more minutes. I'm going to stop sharing.
Pam, I did add in the chat that, we would love it if people shared their plans with us so we can support them. I think something also, if we know that people are interested in saving and know that they have a plan, we can send, just 1 second, sorry. doing a little balancing of things here. We also send out resources throughout the year. So we encourage, there are places where you can get your taxes done for free. And we come across other resources that give people opportunities to earn more, learn more, save more. So we know that if you share your plan with us and share that you want to stay and remain engaged, we can encourage and support you and continue to share resources with you.
Yeah, and to Amy's point, we have, there's plans, we have Liberty, we work with partner agencies to do savings plans called IDAs, which are individual development accounts. And those are for when you are really ready to start saving for a certain asset. So an asset would be maybe a car or a home. And then we have some agencies who will work with you to develop a plan, and you put you have to be ready. So you have to do all the other work ahead of time. Know your budget, know your income, and know that you have some money and you commit to saving maybe $50 a month. And then once you reach your goal of $1,000, the bank matches that $1,000 and it goes towards the purchase of that you wanted. So whether it's a home or a car, education, depending on what agency you work with. So there's some plans like that out there to help with your savings as well. So, definitely, keeping in touch and talking about that with others can help you. And also,
can I just say one more thing, Pam?
Oh, yeah.
Yadira and I sat down and talked about what it would be like just to not buy coffee every week, right? And what that would amount to. And we came up with earning an extra earning or saving of like over $2,000 a year. I mean, think about what that could do for you, right? Just by not grabbing coffee or maybe not doing fast food a day or two a week when you're like, I just got to get out and get something quick, saving yourself some time and some money by bringing food from home. But that's an interesting exercise to sort of see what you spend just on those quick, fast purchases, and then think about what you would save if you didn't make those quick, fast purchases.
Yes, I will say that I am guilty. I am so guilty at wanting to go to Dunkin' every morning and get my coffee and a pastry, or my coffee and a bagel. And after Amy kind of took it down and did that for me, it was like, what? Like, I could be saving all that money. So yes, me and Amy are going to a work trip tomorrow to Boston. And when I come back, me and my husband on Friday are going to sit down. We are going to use the actual booklet that Pam sent today. And we're going to make a budget, and it's going to be hard, right? Because nothing is going to come easy. It's going to be hard, but I am going to do everything it takes to make those changes, because I want a home next year. And so if I want that big goal, I have to make sacrifices. So I can't wait for it.
Another thing too, and that is so exciting, and that you guys have like the willpower, you're going to get together, do it all. Some of you may have some other situations that are overwhelming and you don't know how to handle. Like maybe you have an issue with a debt collector or some things. And so that's where, you may have to get the information together, because that's all your personal information. You've got to figure all that out. But then you may need to go see somebody else who can work with you. So that's where, like Laura's agency, The Village, they have financial counselors that can sit with you and help you do that plan. And there's other agencies around the whole Hartford area. There's CRT. They have a financial counseling group there. The Urban League, they have financial workshops where they will actually, take you on from the beginning and work with you to reach your goal. So there are lots of different agencies that are free in our area. So we're really lucky to have them. So
And
if
we
something
can
is,
help you make some of those referrals too. We work with CRT and some of those folks too, if people need help choosing. Pam, I just, sorry to interrupt you,
Okay.
but somebody said, are there any app recommendations? Orally said, any app recommendations to keep track of what you spend to know if you're in budget? I know that, I know there's an app that Laura recommends and I can't
Nerd
think of it
Wallet.
right now. What is, oh, Nerd Wallet was
Yep, Nerd Wallet,
was-
yeah.
was one, and then you can also just do like a Google search. And there's one that says top 10 budget apps, see a free list of apps, and you could go through and maybe sometimes things ask too much information that you might not feel comfortable sharing, and some are a little bit simpler, but if you do a Google search, you should be able to get something as well. But after all of the workshops are done, we will send you a list too of some of the recommendations that are being made. But NerdWallet was one I remember Laura spoke about that last week. I think there's another one called Minted or something like
Oh,
that that a
Mint,
lot of
yeah,
people
there's
use.
Mint, yep, that's another one too. Yeah, and they're all, those are really helpful too, if using your phone and plugging things in. The one thing too that is really helpful, and I might have mentioned this I can't remember if I mentioned it last week, but check with your online banking for wherever you bank. You probably have free online banking, and a lot of the online banking systems have apps, or not apps. Well, you can use the app on your phone for online banking, but they have programs built in to help track your spending if you're using your debit card. And they have sometimes they have savings plan programs in there. So they have a lot of tools in some of them. So, you know, look, that's a free resource that you probably already have and don't even know it. So, and then I also saw, Maurice said, I'm so guilty of eating out that you didn't even realize it. But that is so true. A lot of times we don't even think about it. And then some of the times we don't even like the food that we eat out, we get. We're like, why am I like, you know, I'm hungry, and you buy something just for convenience. And you're like, oh. So, you know, sometimes you can have better food, and if you plan it yourself, and it all comes to planning, right? Even when it comes to making your own coffee in the morning, or bringing your lunch to work, you have to plan of going to the grocery store and buying, you know, your food or your coffee ahead of time, and then plan how you're going to bring it to work with you or make your dinner. So planning does make has a big role in it. Oh, and then cutting down on board spending. You mean from being bored and spending? Is that? I think one thing too, when it comes to spending, that we're all really guilty of, because the world has changed so much and everything is easy and fast. We have app on our phone. I know if I'm somewhere and I think, oh, I need paper towels, and I'll just go to my Amazon app, order them, instead of, you know, going to the store and buying with my groceries and probably getting them cheaper, or planning ahead. But everything is so quick. Or, you know, an ad pops up for a pair of shoes and you say, oh my God, those are so nice. And it has right on there, you can click and double click with Apple Pay, and you bought it without even thinking. Going to the store, you just swipe your card so quick at the drive-through. You don't have to really plan. So, you know, taking that extra time before you do any purchase, big or small, and thinking about it can a lot of times make a huge difference.
Simon says his issue is with luxury buying. Pam, can you speak to luxury buying?
I'm with you. I love going to New York. Oh my gosh, I'm getting caught up. Like if I ever spend the day in the city, I get caught up in the shops and all the fun things. I'm like, ah. But yeah, you can buy luxury items. You know, you're just gonna have to go on, what is it, Poshmark, or you can get, like, a lot of times, like if you go to Goodwill stores, a lot of times somebody gets a really nice item of some sort and they don't want it, it's the wrong size. I've gotten things with tags still on them that are like designer things that would have been, hundreds of dollars for 20.
I
So,
think if you set your goals too, right? You say, I'm only going to allow myself 200. I mean, it depends on your budget, right? But I'm only going to allow myself $200 of luxury buying for, I'm not a luxury buyer. I am so cheap. So I don't know what is a good amount, but like $200 for 4 months. That's all I'm going to allow myself to buy, or I'm only going to allow myself to get coffee one day a week. Set your goals really simple. I am so cheap, and now I've sort of made myself like I'm defining myself that way. So it makes me easier, like stick with it. I did just buy a pair of expensive pants recently, but I felt okay about it because I am so cheap and I never buy clothes. And I think then you feel okay with allowing yourself to make a purchase. But I think you have to sort of set some guidelines and stick to them, and then give yourself a small award for sticking to them for a month. I think if we say for a year, I'm going to put aside $300 a month, and then you fail, and then you've only done it for 1 month, and you're upset with yourself and your whole plan falls apart, right? So the idea is set achievable goals. I'm only going to buy coffee one day a week. I'm only going to spend $200 every 3 months on luxury items. I'm only going to set some really strong goals for yourself. And then at the end of a month or two, give yourself a small award. Allow yourself to go out to dinner, or don't blow all of your money that you just spent, but allow yourself, and I think part of the award is that you feel good and you're saving money and you're achieving that goal. I think that's also part of it, is being happy with how you feel about achieving your goals. I know that's how I feel. I know I had a lot of student debt, but it was something that I never stopped paying on. And it was super expensive for me, and I paid it down, and it was like the biggest accomplishment ever. And I had some of it forgiven. But I never stopped making those payments, to try and get all of my payments down. And it just, the feeling of having accomplished that makes a difference when you get rid of one of those pieces of debt.
Yes, it will feel so much better. And then I see somebody said, impulse buying is killing my finances. Yes, impulse buying is probably one of the biggest things that hurt your finances. So really stopping before you make any purchase. If you really are a bad impulse buyer, putting your credit card somewhere, lock them up, have somebody else hold them. I remember I saw an Oprah show years ago that somebody froze them in a block of ice in their freezer, so that if they wanted to buy something, they had to take it and it melted. A lot of times I will find myself, if I'm ordering something online because I really want it, I will make myself stop and say, okay, if I really want this, in 2 hours, I will buy it. And 9 out of 10 times when that 2 hours is up, I have forgot all about it and never go back and buy it. So not doing it on the, waiting. If you're at the store and want something, leave and go home and say you'll go the next day. Chances are you will not go back. So
yeah, and
really
I also want to say,
time.
I know that Amy mentioned the student loans, and the application for the forgiveness for student loans already came out. So if you are someone who can qualify or want to check whether you qualify or not, let me know and I'll send you that link so you can apply. The application is super easy. I think it asked like 3 to 4 questions. I mean, it was so easy that I thought I was getting scammed when I did it, but no, it's the actual application and it's only a couple of questions to see
And
if
I
you
believe
qualify.
it's due October 31st, right? I think you only have to the end of this month.
Yes.
So if you need
it, let
help
me
with
know.
that, and there are
Mhm.
organizations that are helping people who may have trickier circumstances, that are for free. You should not be
Right.
paying anything
Oh,
to have
yes,
this
a lot of,
application.
there are scams out there for that too, so be careful this. But if you can send me that too, because I'll share that with
Sure. I'll send it.
some
I'll
other,
send it.
thank you. Yeah, I didn't even know that was out.
Yes,
So
it's out. Okay, great.
There were
Good to know.
400,000 applications filed yesterday. This is across the country, obviously.
Oh,
But I
really?
heard that on the news today.
I did mine,
400,000.
I want to say like a couple of days ago. It was like maybe 4 days ago I did it. The minute it came out, it was like my daughter shared it with me. I was like, do it. And I did it, and I shared it with my husband, and he did it. So hopefully we
Wow.
can, yeah. So, and if they want more information from you, they'll reach out. So it's good to give an email address that you know you're going to be checking and that you get emails all the time. So if they need anything else from you, that you can get those emails. But it's a
Right.
great opportunity, right?
Right.
For some of that debt to just get completely eliminated. And then you can think about either you're going to go back to school and do some more, or you're free from that debt, right? And can move on to other things.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
Well, we are 5 minutes over. Thank you for those of you who have stuck with it and heard some good tips at the end. Again, if you need someone to help share your goals with and to help keep you accountable, let us know. But we'll put together some resources and be
Yes.
sharing those with you. And we will see you all again next week. Save some
Yes.
money this week. Make that a
Yes.
goal. Save some
Yeah,
money before our
And
next
I also
workshop.
know that some of you guys said that you are looking for work. You're not working at the moment. You're looking for work. That is exactly what we do, me and Amy in our office. We do one-on-one career consultations where we will help you trying to figure out exactly what you want to do, work with you to get a resume ready, and then start thinking about, small goals and also, long-term goals, and get you to where you want to be. We will, help you if it's training opportunities that you want to do or just job search, and we will help you do that. So if you need that service, please send me an email, call me at the office, and I'll be able to set an appointment for you to come in.
Great. Yeah.
All
And
right.
next week when we meet, I want everyone to put in the chat what they cut out or what they did to save some money or how much they were able to save in the week.
That's great.
That will be fun. Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
set your goals, save some money. We'll see you all next week.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.